All right. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Thank you everyone who has come here tonight. We do have an in-person audience here at our Jenny Jump State Park location in Hope, New Jersey. We are also live streaming this through YouTube so that everyone can hear me good? Okay. So a couple notes while I see a couple people still slightly filing in from parking and whatnot. If our audience here needs to use the bathroom, you have the porta potty to my right, your left. It has the red light on it, makes it slightly easier to see. To my left, your right, we actually have a gift shop, and after the presentation and after the question and answer session at the end, I'll be going and manning that. And all the proceeds from any donations that you put in the boxes at the scopes or through the sales desk, any sales, all go to keeping our lights on, our bills paid, all the maintenance on the telescopes and the buildings, and also helps keep us offering free public programs. You're right, this is absolutely free. Right now with the COVID thing, still going on. Currently, we still have a reservation system. Even though there is a reservation system, it is completely free. Everyone here has figured out the reservation system. And if you are not able to get on the, hey, I have a ticket list, still add yourself to the wait list if you're in the area. Because many times people cancel last minute because they find something else that holds their attention. And oftentimes we are able to release those waitlist tickets. A couple notes. If you have any bright lights or whatnot, do keep them pointed towards the ground. We don't like accidentally blinding people. It's not fun. That being said, headlights, you can't really move where they're pointed. So you are going to have those on. Please use the headlights, because we don't like getting run over at the same time. Been there, done that. Don't recommend it. So, a couple more things. Off to the left, we have all the observatories. Each little shed-type structure with the roll-off roof houses its own telescope. It's very kind of patchy overcast right now. Hopefully it'll clear up where you will get to see views through the telescopes. If not, a lot of times we do have a projector with images we've taken from past public nights. Any United Astronomy Club scope will have currently a camera attached to where the eyepiece goes instead of an eyepiece, just because the sanitation risk is the sanitation process would actually destroy the optics. So instead we have the camera projecting the view that you would see, just to make it slightly easier. On that note, we do have our website, uacnj.org. That's where you can check us out. It has our mission statement. It has all of our member clubs, because yes, we are a club made up of other clubs in the area. So we have many clubs in New Jersey. We have a couple New York clubs, and we also have Lehigh Valley. I know there's 2 A's and an F.
Astronomical Association? Not sure.
Yeah, the problem is after a certain amount of A's, you're like.
Mm-hmm.
So, it also has some fun activities. You can check out our what sort of equipment we have and our science products, because we are actually we have NJIT, who also uses this site for science. So do check us out there. We do have our social network, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a Discord server now that will We're just getting going on that, so it is slightly quiet right now, but we're hoping it'll get hopping soon, where you can ask questions about equipment, post any of your pictures that you've taken of the night sky. I look forward to seeing them. And we also, like I said, do stream this live on YouTube. So, and then we keep our presentations up, so you can always, if you see something, oh man, I missed that presentation, you can still go back and actually watch that. So, to get us off and going, our presentation tonight is What's Up in the October Sky. Lonny Buinis has a long-running series that he does every first Saturday of the month. Lonny holds degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in Physics and Computer Science. He is a member of the International Association of Astronomical Artists and created the first interactive space history book. He is obsessed with outer space. He still has his first telescope, through which he saw a pterodactyl pass over the moon. In the age of mammals, he helped start the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, and in the Ice Age, 2016. Yeah, remember that? Seems like forever ago now. UACNJ dedicated the Lonny Buinis Observatory. In What's Up in the October Sky, we'll look for 2 stars made famous in science fiction movies, and something you'll find in every closet. Skeletons?
Mm-hmm.
It is spooky season after all. We'll watch the moon dance by 2 bright planets and end by time traveling 2.5 million years into the past. And with that, Lonny, and like I said, we will have a Q&A session at the end, so hold your questions. And if you do need to have conversation in the audience, just be mindful and perhaps step away so that people can hear the presentation that's going on. All right, Lonny.
Thank you very much, Kim. Oh, thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here, because the reason that UACNJ is here is because of you. We popularize astronomy. We don't do it for money. We do it for love. So we get no salaries. We're all volunteers. And that's what I am. I'm an amateur astronomer for most of my life. Let's find out what we would see in a nice clear sky, shall we? Little bit of problem up there right now, but if you come back repeatedly to UACNJ between April and October, when we're open and it's not too cold, you'll have some of the darkest skies in any observatory site in the state of New Jersey. So I hope you come on back for more talks and more stuff. So first, I'm going to start with some news. There was a very indignant Angry Comet. Anybody hear about this? The Angry Comet? No? No, because astronomers didn't call it angry. They said that it had an outburst. Now, what does that mean? Well, comets are loose agglomerations of stuff. Dust, gases, frozen ices, not necessarily water, but things that we would normally have here on Earth as a gas, like swamp gas. That's all frozen solid out in space. So it doesn't take much to melt a comet, and as it starts to melt, stuff shoots out in a jet. So this comet, Schwarzmann-Watchman 29P to astronomers, is currently near the chariot rider Auriga. Now, Auriga is not really a spring constellation. It belongs more to the winter sky. And so you're going to see winter constellations coming up to your right if you're facing north, which is what you're doing now. The directions at Jenny Jump, we're going to use these later. North that way over the roof, south behind you. So the sun comes up in the... Audience participation is not punished. Yep, what direction is that? East, very good. Oh, enthusiasm. You're all still awake. Good. So you're going to be looking to the east for some of the constellations, the star pictures that I'll talk about at the end of my talk. We're going to be focusing more in the south. But if you look in the east late, you'll see where the comet is. And this comet, Schwarzmann-Watchman, has a short period. It comes back every so often. It's putting on a nice show. And here, in some pictures taken by an amateur astronomer, Damien Peach, he's done a great job showing the previous outbursts from as far back as 2013, and he put them all together in one picture. Why does it look like a horseshoe or irregular? It's because the outburst on the comet comes from the side, gives it an odd shape as the comet spins roughly every 57 days. Stuff in outer space spins, like the Earth. How long does the Earth take to spin once? $24? Hours, thank you. I'm going deaf. I obviously can't hear. So sometimes I might hear the wrong thing. 24 hours, 1 day. Other stuff spins faster, like Jupiter, about 10 hours or less. Other things spin slower, like the comet. So we have a furiously indignant comet that has outbursts. I'll just ask all of you to try to be not like a comet on the road, because lately I've encountered a lot of people who are furiously indignant and in a big rush. Now, if you want to learn about the sky on your own, you can go to several websites. One of my favorites is very hard to remember. All right, everybody, I see you all grabbing your phones and phablets and your paper and pencil, although a lot of you don't know what that is. I'll explain it later. Taking notes, are you? Got it? Ready? Space.com. Repeat after me. Space.com. Very good. Check that out. You can also go to seasky.org, organization site. See Sky to learn about the sea and the sky. Click on Explore the Sky, and you'll be presented with a bewildering array of stuff, but I always focus on the astronomy calendar for the current year, which is 2021. Thank you. I see there are fewer and fewer shy people in the audience. That's very encouraging. Right, that's my point. Right, here it all is. Memorize it. Good. Got it? All right, now I made a slightly bigger list. It's a little bit easier to see, but I'm going to go through these separately. We've got 2 moons, 2 meteor showers, 2 planets. We've got a theme going on this month. There's 2 of everything. My wife thanks the heavens every day that there's not 2 of me. So we'll start with the moons. October 6th, when the moon is new, it's a great time to see faint stuff in the sky because the moon's light isn't there. Where is the new moon in the sky? It's in the daytime, right near the sun. It doesn't cross the sun every month because the moon's orbit around the sun is tipped a little bit, about 5 degrees. So for an eclipse of the sun, you have to wait for the lunar orbit to actually spin all the way around to precess. It takes a long time. So good time for faint objects, October 6th. Now, you would expect half a month later the moon's going to be full, right? And you would be right. Because for the moon to go around the Earth, measured as we see by the phases of the moon, that's 29.5 days. 29.5 divided by 2 is, quick, mathematicians in the audience, about 14. In other words, 2 weeks, right? So half a month later, roughly, October 20, we have a full moon, the hunter's moon, according to the early Native Americans. The Native And in seasky.org it said, and ready for the hunt. No, they didn't even say that. They didn't say ready to be hunted. They're being polite. It sounded like they were saying the game was ready to hunt. Now in the future, maybe you'll be able to have deer with automatic rifles stuck to their back, worked by artificial intelligence, so the deer can shoot back. Good theme for a science fiction story. Any of you want to write that, you feel free. Also known as the travel moon and blood moon. Every moon in every month has alternate names, very poetic names. And I'll be talking about those in future What's Up in the Sky talks. So I hope you come back in person April through October. Other times, November, December, January, February, March, it's pretty cold up here, so we actually close to the public. Now, I said there are a couple of meteor showers. We've got a minor one and an average one. The minor one comes out of the head of Draco the dragon. And the dragon, that's something I'm going to point out when we start looking at the sky. The dragon has this little square, or a quadrilateral if you want to be technical, that the meteors seem to shoot out from. What's causing it? Well, it's debris left over from a comet, 21P Giacobini-Zinner, which was discovered in the year 1900, a long time ago. I heard about this comet way back, decades ago, and even then I had trouble saying Giacobini-Zinner properly. So the unusual thing about this meteor shower, unlike all others, is that it's good to watch for it in the early evening, not later on, like midnight, for most showers. So young people in the audience, I see a lot of young people in the audience. You can see this before bedtime. Go out on a dark night, preferably close to October 7th and 8th for the peak of the shower, when the Earth crosses right into the track of the debris, the dirt, and dust left behind by the comet. We do this every year around the same time, right? You could look other days between the 6th and the 10th, but the peak is around the 8th, coming up. The great thing, the moon is nearly new. It doesn't throw off a lot of light. Meteors are hard to see if you don't have a dark sky. Now, an average shower, which has a lot more meteors per hour, about 20, are the Orionids. Coming from what constellation? Take a guess. Orion, exactly. The name of the meteor shower comes from the place it seems to shoot out of. Now, why does it seem to come from a point and shoot out? If we're on a parallel track, shouldn't they be all lined up in a straight line? Well, think about railroad tracks. Think about the turnpike and the parkway with those narrow lanes that make me really nervous, especially the parkway. Anybody have trouble with that? I do. Yeah, they put the dotted lines really close, but if you look in the distance, they seem to go to a point eventually. Perspective. Meteors are actually on parallel lines, but they look like they're coming from a point, from Orion, the Orionids. Check it out. Unfortunately, we have a full moon. Snoopy is not impressed with a full moon. It's not a great time to see meteors, but you might see one every 10 minutes if you're patient. And the equipment, what equipment do we need? Telescopes? No. Binoculars? No. This. Yep, this is known as the technical term. Thank you. Can you say that louder? Naked eye. Follow that person's example. Everybody, let me hear you. Naked eye. We all have them, right? Many of us are blessed to be able to see. Use your naked eye. Lie down in a, again, technical equipment, lawn chair. Look at the entire sky. The human eye is best for meteors because they come over everywhere. That's how you watch a meteor shower. I said there are 2 planets to look for. If you like to get up in the early morning, there is one. But most of us like to see things at night. The planet Venus makes a nice evening star. And on the 9th, it's going to pass right by the moon, the crescent moon, in the constellation of Scorpius, the scorpion. These are the claws of the scorpion in close-up. October 29th, Venus reaches its greatest distance from the sun as we see it from Earth. Now, Venus goes around the sun in a circle, an orbit, so it's always roughly the same distance. But from the Earth, it seems to get closer and further from the sun, right? It's just a trick of perspective. It's far enough away that you can see it easily as a beautiful evening star by the end of the month. And it's going to be brilliantly bright, the brightest of the planets, and among the closest. 47 degrees, that's about, if you hold your fist out at arm's length, generally, universally, that's about 5 degrees of angle. The moon is a ½ degree. The Big Dipper's pointer stars, 5 degrees. Your fist, 5. So go about 5 into 47 is quick. No mathematicians in the audience? 9, yeah. roughly 9. We'll be approximate tonight. So 9 times out, to the left of the sun is eastward, eastern elongation, away from the west, and you'll find the planet Venus. Now, if you like to, I don't know how many of us like to get up early in the morning before sunrise. No takers? You can find the innermost planet Mercury. 18 degrees divided by 5 is 3/5. So you see Mercury is much closer, inner planet, even closer than Venus. About 18 degrees, best to see before sunrise on the 25th. October 25, Mercury, 29, Venus. Remember those dates, there'll be a test later. This girl was so upset she fainted. I'm so sorry. I'm kidding, there's no test later. Here's what Mercury looks like. Here's what Venus looks like in a telescope. So they show phases too. When you look for Venus in a telescope, you see the moon looks like a thin crescent. Venus has a phase called gibbous. Mercury, also gibbous, facing the other way. In the morning, Mercury faces to the sunrise, that way, eastward. All right, but it's much more fun to do this in the real sky. Since it's not fully dark yet, and since there are clouds, I'm not sure you good members of the audience are going to have a chance to look through telescopes tonight. We'll see a few things, I hope. But what we're going to do is simulate the sky with free programs that you can download or use yourselves. Stellarium.org if you want to download the free program for a laptop, computer, or Stellarium-web if you just want to run their supercomputers on the web. You don't have to download or install anything. Another great program, Stellarium, is to look at the sky as seen from Earth. If you want to fly into space and see what Saturn looks like from one of its moons, you do it with this program, Celestia. And I'll mention these again when I finish talking. So let's take a look at Stellarium and simulate the sky as it would look on a clear night from UACNJ. All right, now I can zoom in because you in the back, way in the back, are going to have a little trouble seeing the image, I think. So perhaps you can face north. What do? You go outside at home and you look for the big letter N, right? No, because is there a letter N in the sky? No, no, you can cheat. It's called, scientific term, cheating in Stellarium. And you want to look in the north low, very low, for 8. Yes. What is this? Big Dipper, that's correct. I'm going to cheat again and draw lines to make it a little bit easier to see the Big Dipper. And I'm going to point out that if you have sharp eyesight, you might notice that in the bend of the handle, there's actually a double star, Mizar and Alcor. Visual double. The stars do not revolve around each other. They're just accidentally lined up one behind the other. You can actually see how, or learn how far apart these stars are in Stellarium by clicking on something. Mizar, 78 light years away. Alcor, behind it, 81 light years. So they're not a real double star. However, many stars in the sky are real doubles. Mizar is called a spectroscopic binary. There are actually 2 stars revolving around each other. So, if you were an Indian scout, a Native American scout centuries ago, and it was decided who's the first unlucky chump to have to stay up all night and keep watch over the campfire, you would say, look over here. How many stars do you count? 7. Okay, good, go to bed. How many stars? You. 7. Good, go to bed. How many stars? You. 8. It's your job to watch the fire. See if you can find 8 stars in the Big Dipper, which is part of a constellation known as Ursa Major. What's Ursa? Bear. Big Bear. There's also a Little Bear, which you can always find by following the 2 pointer stars in the end of the bowl of the Big Dipper, 5 times their distance apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you will just miss Polaris. in the Little Dipper. And the Little Dipper is Ursa Minor, which is Little Bear, right. In New Jersey, most places where I live where there's a lot of light, not like Jenny Jump, I see Polaris, I see some bright stars here, and I see a satellite. Aha! That, I believe, is Elon Musk at work. Starlink. Yep, there's a lot of these things. At Jenny Jump, you might be lucky enough to see a satellite moving overhead. It's that dark here. See if you can spot satellites, artificial moons, made by humans. Well, you've just identified 2 constellations. There are a number of constellations officially recognized in the year 1930 by the International Astronomical Union. They numbered the same as keys on a piano, so I'll let the piano players in the audience who were foolish enough to count all the black and white keys figure that one out, and I'll remind you later. There's also a dragon, a king, and a queen in the north. And these constellations never rise or set. They don't rise and they don't set. They just spin around and around that part of the sky over the roof at Jenny Jump. They're called circumpolar stars. Circumpolar, going around in a circle. You can always find them in New Jersey. What you won't find in New Jersey is the Southern Cross, visible from the southern hemisphere. They have a cross that points to where the Earth's south pole points. But we have a star right near there. We're privileged. Yeah, yeah. Right there, next to Polaris, right about where my arrow is where the Earth's north pole points. Because anything that spins has poles. If I spin, then an imaginary line going through my feet and head points straight up. And now I'm a little dizzy. You can start in the north to get familiar with stars, but the most interesting part of the sky to me is really in the south. So I'm going to turn around past the west and the southwest, facing south. And if I want to see the stars that are disappearing to the right or west, I would look there, because we know the Earth is spinning this way, eastward, which means that everything on the Earth seems to go the other way and set in the west. That's a natural motion for day and night. Let's start up high in the southern sky. And if you look straight up, you might see a bright star, or a couple of them in that direction. Those are part of a big triangle of 3 bright stars in 3 separate constellations. Vega, or Vega, in Lyra the harp. Deneb, the tail of Cygnus the swan. Altair, in the beak of Aquila the eagle. And these things to me don't really look too much like what they're supposed to be. Is that a little better? There's Lyra the lyre, Lyre, Cygnus the swan, a few other small constellations, Sagitta, Vulpecula, Aquila. But you can easily find them, even if you don't imagine that, and even if you can't see the lines. See the lines? No, because they're not there. You might see the 3 bright stars. This one was in a science fiction movie called Contact. Vega, 25 light years away. This one, Altair, was in a science fiction movie further back in time, 16 light years away. Forbidden Planet. Look it up. Forbidden Planet. 1956. Old movie. Still good. And this poor star. Whoa. Getting a little bit dizzy here. Oh, I've lost the ability to... That's better. Oh, we're having technical difficulties. Stand by. This star here, Tail of the Swan, was not in any science fiction movie, but it was in a science fiction television series with Captain Kirk. Star Trek, the Danubians. All right, so go check your old Star Trek episodes. They're all on. Still, it's the series that wouldn't die. This triangle of 3 bright stars, best seen in summer. Take a wild guess what we amateurs call it. Summer triangle, brilliant. Thank you. So remember, the audience is not so shy, so you should all be like that person. Don't be shy. You can ask questions. We have amateur astronomers here who love it when you ask questions. Please, please, though, don't kick their tripods. They spend hours setting up their telescopes. If you want to make an astronomer cry, you're going to upset the telescope. Not a good idea if you want to look through it. But you can't ask them a lot of questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question here at UACNJ. No such thing as dumb. If I look further down, low in the sky, where normally there are trees and houses where I live, you might see my sun sign, a sign of the zodiac. The planets, the sun, and the moon all seem to move through a special area of the sky called the ecliptic. And the ecliptic here as in an imaginary line. Are you going to see this line in the real sky? No. This line defines the signs of the zodiac: Sagittarius, Capricornus, Aquarius, and Pisces. The astrologers of ancient times used these signs to help them find the sun, the moon, and the planets, because our solar system, for the most part, for the major bodies, is fairly flat. The Earth's orbit, compared to the Earth's orbit, most planets follow that flat plane, kind of like a dinner plate. Everything's spinning around like peas, right? Except for Mercury and Pluto, really inclined. And then the comets, the Oort cloud of comets, the inner comets. Some asteroids have peculiar orbits. If you look low in the sky, you'll see the brilliant star-like planets, Jupiter and Saturn. How do you tell a planet from a star? There's actually a pretty simple way.
Planets don't twinkle.
Very good. Thank you very much. Is that Krishnadas? No? I'm sorry. That's correct. Planets send back a lot of light to your eye. Stars send back such a narrow beam that it activates only one cell in your eye. So the least little thing interrupts starlight. Even air currents. And that's why stars twinkle. Generally, planets don't, unless they're very low in the sky, the way they are this month. So look carefully and see if you can catch a planet twinkling. It's a rare event. Jupiter and Saturn, we'd love to show them to you, but right now it looks like they're in the clouds. So come on back to another night. We're still open every Saturday night to the public through October. This is my sun sign, Capricornus. It's supposed to be where the sun was when I was born, but actually the sun was over here when I was born, way off. Astrology is off by one whole sign, and that's because the Earth, as it moves around the sun, it stays tilted in pretty much one direction over the course of a year. But over the course of 24,772 years, it wobbles once. Yep, the Earth wobbles like a top. It's being pulled on by Jupiter and the Sun, and the other planets less so. 25,000 years once around. Right, that upsets the signs. Currently, the Sun, Moon, and planets move through 13 constellations, not 12, 13. More than one per month. They go through this big horseshoe-shaped Ophiuchus, the serpent carrier, for just a little bit. I've heard that modern astrologers do take this into account. So look for the sea goat. Do you see a goat there? The sea goat with a tail like a fish. We've all seen one of these, right? I hope not. Yeah, all right, now do you see it? Yeah, neither do I. Yeah, it doesn't look like much of a goat to me. So you've just learned some constellations. The beautiful Milky Way, our galaxy, looks like a narrow band because the Milky Way is shaped kind of like a dinner plate also. It's fairly flat. It rotates right? Most of the solar system objects revolve around the sun. They all spin. Everything in the universe is moving, spinning, rotating, revolving. So does the Milky Way, about 225 million years for one spin, right? So it looks like a thin band of light in the sky at UACNJ Jenny Jump. Yep, and in the summer and early fall, part of it is down there near Sagittarius, the teapot or archer or half man, half horse holding a bow and arrow. Looks just like it, right? Yeah. We amateur astronomers call it the teapot. See why? Teapot. Right above the teapot, right about there, is the direction of the center of the Milky Way, which we now know for sure contains a black hole weighing millions of times the mass of the sun. Millions of times. We've actually seen it swallowing stars and dust and gas. Very impressive. Are we in any danger? No. No, we're far away, 30,000 light years or more. We're more in danger of being sucked in by the black hole of bad news. But if you look in that direction, you will find the black hole. Can you see it? No. Why? It's black. Right. No, it's invisible. Right? It's sucking up all the light. But what you can see is a place where stars are being born. I did this one year. I looked in the sky. I looked above the teapot spout, and I saw this fuzzy blob. If we zoom in, like we could with binoculars or a telescope, we would find a gas cloud called a nebula. Nebula means cloud. And our ancestors didn't know what these were, but we now recognize them to be the birthplaces of stars. We can actually see stars gradually forming. There are amateur astronomers here today who are so old, like myself, from the time of the dinosaurs. We've actually seen stars forming from the dust and gas. The gas of the hydrogen gas, most abundant element in the universe, is glowing red. Sometimes you see blue light glowing from reflected light from stars. This is the Lagoon Nebula because it has a lagoon of dark dust running down the middle. And one day that dust may collapse and form stars and planets. That's the way we think our solar system formed, from a nebula like this one, Lagoon Nebula. I saw this nebula from Jenny Jump years ago in a dark night sky with this, the what? Naked eye. Very good. People in the back. They're not as shy as I thought they used to be. Naked eye. Above the Lagoon Nebula is another favorite object for astronomers with telescopes, the Trifid Nebula. I mentioned that sometimes nebulae glow with reflected light from young blue stars. We call them blue because they're hot. There are cool stars that are reddish in color, and then there are average stars yellowish in color, like the one we all know, the sun, the average star, yellow. One beautiful yellow star that I forgot to mention. See, there are other deep sky objects. We call them deep sky objects because they're, you guessed it, deep in the sky, thousands of light years away. I forgot to mention that the head of the swan, Cygnus, this cross shape, right there, is called Albireo. It's about 386 light years away. It is my most favorite double star in the entire sky. Stellarium really does not do it justice for color. These are the most striking color contrast in the sky to my eye, because the human eye is very weak at determining colors for sky objects because they're dim. But if you look in a telescope, or, well, yeah, even a small telescope, you'll see brilliant gold for one of them and brilliant cyan for the other, a color between blue and green. It's just so astonishing when I see it. I think it's one of the most beautiful things in the sky. Ask an amateur astronomer here tonight, or another night that you come back, to show you Albireo. Double stars that revolve around each other in a slow, beautiful, gravitational dance. Albireo in Cygnus. We've seen a lot. I don't want to confuse everybody, and I want to give us a chance to go and look in the real sky because there are some things visible. In fact, Cygnus is overhead right now. So I will leave you with the big letter H disappearing in the western sky. Big letter H for a famous hero of legend. Hercules. Yeah, look for Hercules. See if you can find the fuzzy blob in Hercules. Right there. This is a cluster of stars in the shape of a globe. You'll never guess what we call these things. Oh boy, we got some pretty bright people in the audience. Globular Clusterings. This one is the most famous, seen from New Jersey, the most easily visible, even though there is a bigger one, Omega Centauri, in the Centaur, which is way down low in the south, hard to see in the trees. This is M number 13, Globular Cluster M13. Years ago, in the 70s, we sent a radio signal to this cluster, and by the time the signal gets there, it'll have spread out to cover every star in M13. And it'll take only about 30,000 years to get there. And the answer will come back in 30,000 years. Yeah, it's going to be a while. Don't hold your breath. That's Stellarium. And now let's finish by upsetting everyone in the audience with a review. Yay! I see a lot of enthusiasm, people waving, people panicking, running. Oh my. All right, it'll go by quick, I promise. All right, so review. We look in the northern sky, 5 circumpolar constellations going around and around in a circle. This time of the year, the Native American Iroquois legend said 3 brave warriors chased the bear, shot an arrow into its side. The bear bled blood. And in the fall, when the bear is low, it bleeds on the trees and turns them red. That's why we have fall. Big Dipper. Pointer stars to Polaris in Little Dipper. The Dragon Draco. Cassiopeia looks like a letter M or W, depending on how you hold your head. And her husband, Cepheus the King, all part of the legend of Perseus and Andromeda. The original Clash of the Titans from 1981 was on just a few nights ago. Maybe some of you have seen the newer Clash of the Titans, the movie, or read the book. You have no excuse. The book's been out earlier than the movie, earlier than 1981, about 3,000 years. Check it out. It's in the library. Anybody still go to a library? Good. We have people who like to read. Excellent. South. Look up high in the sky for the triangle of 3 bright stars called the summer. Very good. You're very bright. Like the stars. Look over to the left, and I forgot to mention a great square of stars called the Great Square. Very good. Also called Pegasus, the flying horse, which Perseus rode to rescue Andromeda, who's on the side of the horse, from the monster Cetus, who's underneath the horse, using the head of Medusa, which he's holding in the constellation Perseus. They're all out there, the whole thing. I'm going to be talking more about the Great Square, so come on back. Well, actually, I won't be talking. Well, we'll see if I talk about it in November. Low in the southern sky, the teapot, the bikini top or bikini bottom, or if you see a sea goat, more power to you. With the bright planets Jupiter and Saturn in there. You know, I forgot to take a look at those planets. Oh my. I'll tell you what, I'll go back and we'll take a close look again. And I forgot to point out that in the Great Square, there is 2 stars over and 2 stars up, a fuzzy blob. That is the most distant thing that you can see in the universe, and you're seeing it, the light coming to you from the past, from the way it looked 2.5 million years ago. Now, is that a long time for a galaxy? Nope, because our Milky Way is 10,000 million years old. 10 billion years. And the Andromeda Galaxy is only 0.0025 of a billion light years away. 2.5 million light years. That's nothing in the life of a galaxy. 2.5 million compared to 10 billion. If you want to find it, you know what? I'll do that at the end. We'll run Stellarium once again. You're looking in the east. And I picked 8 o'clock to look at all of these objects because that's a time when most of us, I won't vouch for all, most of us are still awake. Now, watch what happens in the course of 1 month. And this is why we do these talks every month. Facing south at 8:30, when it gets a little darker, the moon happens to be close to the planets Jupiter and Saturn at the middle of the month on the 15th. Watch what happens a month later. You ready? Look at the big square, or look at the teapot. Teapot's disappeared in 1 month. The great square jumped over by 30 degrees. Quick, what's 360 degrees divided by 12? Mathematicians. 360 over 12? 3 and a 0. 30 degrees. The sky changes every month. That's why we've been doing these talks every month, because there's always new stuff to see. That's why I hope you'll come back to other talks besides what's up in the sky. We talk about other things like black holes and gravity waves and trips to South America, to the Antarctic for observing. All sorts of topics, meteorites, designed for you, the viewing public, for us amateurs, just because we love astronomy. So in the course of a month, things change. That's why we keep doing these talks. A little bit of history before we take a closer look at those planets. On this day in 1608, and if you're a mathematician, you can subtract that from 2021 to see how many years ago that was. Hans Lippershey is the way I learned it, but it might be Lippershey. Took credit for taking 2 lenses and making a magnified image 3 times bigger of stuff that was far away. And he got a patent for it, even though he may have stolen the idea from 2 children who looked at windmills in his workshop where he made lenses. Maybe he stole it from them. Maybe he took credit from his assistant. Maybe he got it from a third party altogether. We don't know. But he got a patent for seeing, and I just love the way they phrased it back then, 400 years ago, seeing things far away as if they were near. Right? Nowadays we have one word for that, and that's magnify or telescope. Tele, far, scope, look. Look far, telescope. Hans Lippershey. And here's the only portrait I know exists of Hans Lippershey or Lippershey. So now some homework. Uh-oh. Repeat after me. UWACNIDGE. UWACNIDGE.org. Check it out. It's got events coming up. All sorts of astronomical activities and organizations. And you can belong to one of the organizations that forms part of the umbrella of UACNJ. Lots of good magazines out there, Sky and Telescope, Astronomy. They still have print versions, but you can get them online for free. You can pay a subscription and get even more information. The programs and apps that are out there are so many. I used to list them, but I've lost track. There's more than 3 dozen out there. And many of them let you hold up your phablet. You know what a phablet is? Well, you know what a phone is, right? And you know what a tablet is, right? Put them together and you get phablet. That's a portmanteau word, which is something invented by Lewis Carroll in Alice in Wonderland. Portmanteau words. Yep, check them out. Stellarium and Celestia are 2 of the most powerful free programs, websites, and apps all in one. Take your pick. You don't have to install anything on their websites. You can install stuff on your laptop or desktop if you still have one. And you can put stuff on your phones or phablets or tablets. My website is astronomyinmotion.com. I'm a member of the International Association of Astronomical Artists. I do artwork and animation in 3D. And I also create virtual reality planets that are featured in my book. So this is my only shameless advertisement. Check it out. In the book, you can manipulate planets with your fingers. It's very fun, very exciting. And I want to thank you for being such good audience. Here's my email. Hope to hear from you. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks very much. I've got reminders that Kim will reiterate. Just want you to be careful out there in the dark. Kim.
All right. Thank you, Lonny, for such a great talk again. Thank you guys for bearing with us. So what's going to happen is after I go through some things, because I know a couple people unfortunately got waylaid on their way here. So they did come in the middle of the presentation. If you need to use the restroom, and you're here, you have the porta potty to my right, your left. I do have a little gift shop to my left, your right, through the door. I am the one running it, so while I'm doing Q&A session, unfortunately, I won't be able to be there. Unfortunately, they have not quite yet given me the ability to be in two places at once. But as soon as that happens, I'm taking over the world. Nah, that sounds like too much work. Okay, so if we have our lights, because it is slightly dark, especially with it being overcast, any flashlights, please keep them pointed towards the ground, just because we do like being able to see, and if we can avoid having people point lights directly into each other's eyes, All right, sorry about that. Apparently, someone needed something on the walkie-talkie, and it did not sound good. And the train of thought is gone. That being said, if we are using our flashlights toward the ground, we are still using our headlights because we don't like getting run over. I can guarantee you it's not a pleasant experience, and I'm sure other people who have done it can concur. Off to our left, we do have observatories. I currently don't know if any are open. I'll yell in a moment to find out if we have any observatories open, although the sky is slightly overcast, so likely you'll only be able to see the telescopes and not through them towards an active object. Yay, weather. That being said, do check us out on our website, uacnj.org. Just like Lonny said, that's where you will find information about all sorts of all our programs. It will have links to all of our member clubs and all the information you could ever want and more, and plus a way to contact us if you have any questions when we're not doing the program. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord server. We are a nonprofit, so all of the donations, all of the proceeds from sales through the gift shop do go to keeping our lights on, our programs running, and we want to thank you for help keeping us going throughout this pandemic. And with that, we're going to get into the question and answer session. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to start us off with one question from our online audience, because we have been streaming this online through our YouTube, and this presentation will be available archived on there as well. And then I'm going to take one from you. Now, you guys in the live audience, what you're going to do is stick your hand up and kind of wave it around, because I'm horrible at seeing it in the dark. That being said, also keep your hand up until I'm going to come over with the microphone, because chances are the question you want to ask is something the online audience wants to hear, because chances are they also have the same question. All right. So the first question is about the meteor shower. They said, for the Saturday, October 9th, will there be a showing for the shower that peaks on the October 8th? Well, mentioned, apparently they live in New York City. And actually, likely it will be mentioned, but just as tonight, we are kind of weather dependent as to what we can actually see. So if we have good seeing, where the clouds have cooperated and the space gods have smiled down upon us with lovely bright stars and whatnot, I'm sure we'll be able to see at least a few of the
Draconids on the 8th that's a minor shower, peaking about 10 per hour. But if you want to try the 20th, the Orionids, there's about 20 per hour. And again, the problem there is the full moon. So you've got a toss-up there.
But
not spectacular.
You might be able to see a couple as long as weather cooperates.
Sure.
Regardless, I do suggest, if you can't make it here, still tune in, come see us. I believe the next presentation is Alan Midkiff on moons and finding moons. I know it's about moons that are not our moon, but that's about it because I have bad memory. All right. So, next, it's your turn, live audience. Does anyone have a question? Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
How do you know how far away things are in space?
All right. The question was, how do you know how far away things are in space?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Astronomers use a series of overlapping techniques to go further and further out. The easiest one, the one that they start with, is the same thing that you can do if you hold your finger up and close one eye, and then open the other eye and close the first. Your finger seems to jump back and forth. And that's a trick that astronomers do. By waiting for the Earth to go halfway around the sun, they can look at distant stars jump a foreground object, like the sun, a little bit. They can measure that angle, and they can use a mathematics called trigonometry to measure the distance directly. And then, after that, it gets more difficult. They have to use trickier techniques that measure the brightness of an object, that they know how bright the same object is at different distances. So it's overlapping ideas, but there's different ways to measure how far away things are. That's a very good question. Excellent.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of that. And like Lonny said, it's likely that they use one to kind of rough guesstimate and go in and double check. And let's face it, as technology has been getting better, which I'm sure some of you definitely want to get in those tech fields, make that better technology, we'll get more accurate ideas of everything that's going on. All right. Well, I lost the question.
Any questions from the audience?
Do we have another?
You know everything, right?
Bueller?
You know, it took me years to learn all this, so don't be intimidated. I use a star map, like the kind that we sell here. It's a little circle that moves. You could set it to different days of the year or times of night, and that's how I learned, slowly.
And we're talking about a planisphere, right?
Yes.
I actually have an example of one.
Yeah, the little map is called a planisphere, and it moves. You can adjust it for time of year, time of night, or time of morning.
Whee!
And Kim is holding one up right now.
All right. Actually, I just thought of a fun question that was asked last week. If you had a chance to go to Mars for free, would you take it?
You know, my wife would love to see me go one way to Mars. Yeah, and there was a recent. Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
Oh my!
Yeah, one of the billionaires recently, a few years ago, had asked if there were any older couples interested in going one way to Mars. It would take about 500 days on a Hammond orbit, which is the least energy intensive, because you wouldn't be firing your rocket the entire time. There's not enough fuel. So I asked my wife, you know, would you go with me? She said, well, if we went together, then after 3 days, mission control would say, everything okay up there? There'd be only one survivor, and it wouldn't be me.
I think she could take you. My money's on her. All right. Are there any more questions? Like I said, I'm kind of blind in the night, so you might have to...
Has anyone never seen Saturn in a telescope? With the rings? The rings are nice and wide open now. Never seen it. You're not going to see it tonight. Well, I see Jupiter, but you know it's the clouds.
Saturn's
so
a little lower, I think.
Yeah, over to that way.
Yeah.
Well, please keep trying. Visit if you can.
Yeah, we do have four presentations left this month where we are live in person. So you have 4 more chances to come out and get a nice clear sky. We are some of the darkest skies available in New Jersey area, especially with New York City so close by, about 2-ish hour drive. So it's a great first stop for... Oh, do I see a question or someone just playing with their hair? Now people are messing with me.
Pardon us, it's just hard to see out there. So just shout if you have a question.
Right. Well, hold on. Let me get you the microphone because, like I said, chances are the online audience has the same question.
Last summer, I think we saw Jupiter and Saturn together.
Yes, they're still fairly close in the sky. The question was, you saw Jupiter and Saturn last summer?
Last summer, it was really bright.
Yeah, they are once again in what they call opposition. So if you looked from outer space over the sun, there'd be Sun, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, all pretty much lined up on the same side of the sun, which means they're closest to us. So Jupiter, 5 astronomical units minus Earth, 1 is 4, about 8 1/3 minutes per AU. Jupiter is about 35 minutes away in time, so you're seeing it as it was 35 minutes in the past. Saturn about 1 1/4 hours in the past. It takes light that long to travel the vast distances in the solar system. But they put on a nice show for us every year as we catch up, because the Earth moves around much faster in 1 year. Jupiter about 11 years, Saturn 29.
All right. And while I walked out there, I did find out that while I'm looking at basically just clouds and little endless puffy clouds, you guys actually have a better view over the roof than I thought. I'm like, oh, look, there's actually things out.
Good.
I know I saw Cassiopeia was up, so things around Cassiopeia should be out.
Cygnus is in the clouds, but it's still almost visible. Do we have any...
We do have actually 4 observatories open at this time, and if you walk out to the left, each little shed-type unit with the roll-off roof actually houses its own telescope. Again, do be mindful, all of the UACNJ telescopes do have cameras currently attached to them where you can see the view through them projected on a screen. If there are telescopes open that do have eyepieces, they are either club-owned or privately owned. We do ask that you do ask before looking through the telescope. Do be mindful that if you are not feeling well or whatnot, that we do not use the eyepieces then if we're not feeling well, because again, the sanitation between each person would actually destroy the optics, and actually eyepieces are like the most expensive part of a telescope beyond the actual inner workings.
Kim, do we have any online questions?
Fortunately, it looks like I've actually gone through all the online questions.
Okay.
Most of my questions tonight were actually how to get here.
Oh.
So I was giving directions during the presentation.
Well, I'm glad that those of you who made the effort did come here. Thank you.
Oh, I see one question out there. Hold on. He was... Oh. Weird feedback when I'm in front of them.
There are some things visible.
Yep.
Through the clouds.
So I want to thank y'all for being a great audience. Thank you, Lonny, for another wonderful presentation. Hope to see you again live. We will, like I said, we have 4 more presentations through the end of October. We will have a live audience on site. After that, we will move into our winter program where that will be online only. And I still hope to see you there because I'm always in chat. So, all right. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.